that you are one of those few that has been to the top of rugby for both coaching and for playing. Apart from the fact that you are a medical doctor and still practicing that, you played for the Free State 122 games, London Irish 64 games, for the Bokke 17 games, and importantly, you were in that very unique and well-known 1995 World Cup rugby squad. Welcome, Brendan Venter.
Thank you, Timmy. Yeah, I think the main thing is we are kind of what we are in other areas of our lives as well. You know, you can't just be a rugby player. You will be a certain family person, or you'll be a doctor. In my case, I was a doctor. So I learned science, and everything is why. You know, how long do you give something? How much do you give of it? Why do you give it? Have things changed? So that was my background. When I come to something, I ask why. Why do you do it like this? You know, and that's why I'm analytical. And I also realized that I want people that I coach and that I work with, it must matter as much to them as it matters to me. That's the bottom line. Saracens was a very well-run club when I arrived. And things were done correctly. But Saracens had no energy, had no life, had no purpose. People were doing things just to do things. They were doing things for a result. And I believe life is too short. My primary focus is relationships, because that's all I'm going to remember. It's how you feel. I try to say to them, we're going to go away from all these other stuff. You're doing these stuff right anyway. We're going to build memories. We're going to make friends. That is what drives us as people. So I took the analysis part, which I always say that's also important. Don't get me wrong, you want to run a good business. But I made it emotional. You know, I gave them purpose, but a different purpose. I said to them, so what's the object in the beginning? And they said, well, when are we going to be successful? We win something. I said, have you ever thought of it? That they call it a wisseltrofee, they call it a floating trophy. You don't keep it. And I was looking like that. I say, you give it back. So you can't want to win it, because you win a memory. You gain a memory. That's all you gain. You gain nothing. You can make yourself a little replica. You can never make that. You know, everything is like that the whole time. So we're doing things so that when we get older, we've got better relationships and we function better with people, because people give us joy. I try to explain to people values are there to make you a better human being. The concept of humility as a value, why do you have that? You are unteachable if you are not humble. That is why you must be humble. So humility is not just thumbsucked. It's a central characteristic for good environments, because it leads to growth. It leads to better friendships. You know, when you sometimes get into an argument or a fight with somebody and you make up, the relationship is always better. Just the way it is. It's like growing and growing. So it's a complex thing of putting principles in place. Life is not just about emotion. Life is about facts as well. And when you can be analytical and you can be well planned and hardworking, and you can actually look after the emotion, you get a much better product. It's just the way it is. So I try to win them over by completely facts. This is the way it is. If there are 12 studies proving this to us, and it's proper studies, and we've read the study, we've analyzed, it is this, okay? But then on the other side, it's how long it takes you, and the better relationship I've got with somebody, the easier it is. So to answer your question, how do I get them on my side, it is factually. If you then don't want to go with me, then you must stay behind. Then you can leave. But this is where we're going to go as an organization, you know, and then I will hear you out. We'll debate it, but in the end, we're going to do what I say, because it's my responsibility to get the club working. It's as simple as that. When I work as an assistant to somebody else, I say to them, I'll give you energy, I'll give you ideas, I'll think in, but you must be the boss. When I'm the boss, I'm the boss.
All right.
You know, so that was a very important thing.
It's about accountability.
It's about accountability. It is accountability, but it's also knowing your role in something. Because that's, for me, how leadership and business works. Your role changes. You need to be a submissive person as well to work with somebody, you know, and then it's respect. And when they make a decision that you don't agree with, that you've made it, before it happens, you've made a decision that you're going to support them in this thing. And that, for me, was very important. And I learned it quite early, because we are sometimes wrong. That's the problem. With our best information at our disposal, we are just sometimes wrong. Number one thing in business and in rugby, they say, what do you want from your coach? Honesty. What do they actually mean? They want clarity. They want the coach to explain to them, what do you want me to do? So I always say, everything is a contract between people. When you asked me to come and speak here, there was a certain expectation on your side, and I have to meet that. And I've got a certain expectation, and you've got to meet that. That's when the relationship is amazing. And we just don't talk about that, because we don't think about, what do you want from me, a player? So what do you want me to do, coach? I'm going to explain to you exactly this. And if you do that, and we don't get the outcome we were hoping for, then it's okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. We'll make a new plan. You know, my plan might have not have been as good, but it's this thing is establishing different roles. And people function when they know what you want from them. Everybody has value everywhere you go. I feel strongly about that. And you knowing what your value is in the organization is critical. And rugby is exactly like that. So I said to them, there's no way, there's this group of people, they contracted as backup players. That's the reality. It's been done like that, football everywhere. How can we come? And I came up with a philosophy. I said, teams win matches, squads win championships. We'll pick the best team every week and we will win something, but that's not how it works, because we all must be valued. And we started a rotation policy. So I had this philosophy, we're going to play big games with our form team. And you must understand, that's my decision who's on form. Because that's unfair. I will rotate you. You all get great game time. They'll all be fresh. It worked like a charm. You know, we were a squad. Everybody was happy because there were different degrees. So there were selection matches, then there were normal matches, and then was a team who were in partial rotation. So they would play some of the smaller games, and then there was a team that was out of rotation, which is normally young guys coming up, and everybody wanted to go to the next tier. And the goal is to play the final. The one thing in my experience that kills emotions the most is uncertainty. It's amazing. When you don't communicate with them, when you don't talk to them, they make up their own assumptions. Give clarity, then measure according to the clarity you've given, and then get an outcome. Now then somebody can't say, if I say to people, at the moment I want you to run as fast as you can, as often as you can, and touch the ball the most times. Then you come with a value and you say, okay, there's certain other things. You must be able to hold the scrum up and you must be good in the line out, which I'll give you a merit for. Then I must select those things. Because the moment you start measuring things, but you don't act on them, that's a disaster. You know, that's why measuring things are so important. You know, and people miss that. They don't understand, because otherwise it becomes always a subjective opinion. I don't want to give my opinion because I'm often wrong. My victory was not in the result. My victory was in the journey, the enjoyment, my growth. That's what happened. And then we got great results. But I also know that human beings, we want them to perform. That's what we want. Whether it be my staff in my practice at the moment, my doctors, rugby players. And then you must ask yourself, when do we perform at our best? When we are happy. We are emotional beings. We are driven. Our energy is driven by that. So we simplify the problem. We say, what makes you happy? That's what we do. And then we actually go and say, and that's all we did. The reason we've got 4 values is very simple. 2 values are for environment and 2 values are for performance. And those are absolute values. So I often say, if you go and look at somebody who works hard and is super disciplined, he's successful. It's just the way it is. But he can be a psychopath. So that's not hard to be successful. But the other side is, what does humility and honesty bring? It brings good relationships. Now it's a game changer. Because if you can have a good environment, great relationships, now other people will perform for you. There's a different way of treating people and getting a result. You know, so you can actually do both.